To Catherine's dock I bid farewell, to charming Sue and lovely Nell. With our anchors heaved and our sails all furled, we're bound to cross the watery world. For the seas we are outward bound, for the seas we are outward bound. The wind blew hard, the wind blew east, our good ship sailed 9 knots at least. And at the Spaniards we let fly, while we have grog we'll never say die. For the seas we are outward bound, for the seas we are outward bound. When we returned to London docks, the fair pretty maids came down in flocks. The maids did skip, the maids did say, oh, here comes Jack with his 3 years' pay. From the seas he is homeward bound, from the seas he is homeward bound. Now when we come to the Dog and Bell, when all good liquors are to sell, in comes Arch with his sweetest smile, says, drink, merry lads, it is worth your while. From the seas you were homeward bound, from the seas you were homeward bound. Now when our money is gone and spent, when none is borrowed for none is lent, then in comes Arch with his sourest frown, says, stand up, Jack, and let John sit down. For Jack is outward bound, and John is homeward bound. Oh, when each lad shall have touched his chink, oh, then as fishes we'll sit and drink, and the fair pretty maids with kisses sweet will John desert and their Jack will greet. For Jack is homeward bound, and John is outward bound.
They put to sea on September the 6th with a prosperous wind, which continued for several days and was some encouragement to them, though, as usual, many were afflicted with seasickness. I must not omit to mention here a special example of God's providence. There was an insolent and very profane young man, one of the sailors, which made him the more overbearing, who was always harassing the poor people in their sickness and cursing them daily with grievous execrations, and did not hesitate to tell them that he hoped to help throw half of them overboard before they came to their journey's end. If he were gently reproved by anyone, he would curse and swear most bitterly. But it pleased God, before they came half seas over, to smite the young man with a grievous disease, of which he died in a desperate manner, and so was himself the first to be thrown overboard. Thus his curses fell upon his own head, which astonished all his mates, for they saw that it was the just hand of God upon him.
The gallant frigate Amphitrite, she lay in Plymouth Sound. Blue Peter at our foremasthead, for we were outward bound. We were waiting there for orders to take us far from home. Our orders came for Rio, and thence around Cape Horn. When we arrived at Rio, we prepared for heavy gales. We sent up all our rigging boys, and we bent on all new sails. From ship to ship they cheered us as we did sail along, and wished us pleasant weather when rounding of Cape Horn. While beating off Magellan Straits, it blew exceeding hard, while shortening sail to gallant tars fell from our topsail yard. By angry seas the ropes we threw from their poor hands was torn. We were forced to leave them to the sharks that prowl around round Cape Horn. When we got round the Horn, me boys, we had some glorious days. And very soon our killick dropped in Valparaiso Bay. The pretty girls came down in flocks, oh, I solemnly do swear. They're far before them Plymouth girls with their dark and curly hair. They'll love a jolly sailor when he spends his money free. They'll laugh and sing and a merry, merry be, and they'll have a jovial spree. And when your money is all gone, oh, they won't on you impose. They are not like them Plymouth girls that'll pawn and sell your clothes. Farewell to Valparaiso, and farewell for a while. Likewise to all them Spanish girls along the coast of Chile. And if ever I live to be paid off, oh, I'll sit and I'll sing this song. God bless those pretty Spanish girls we left around Cape Horn. On the 9th day of November, at the dawning in the sky, ere we sailed away to New York, we at anchor here did lie. O'er the meadows fair of Kingsbridge, then the mist was lying grey. We were bound against the rebels in the North America. Oh, so mournful was the parting of the soldiers and their wives, for that none could say for certain they'd return home with their lives. Then the women, they were weeping, and they cursed the cruel day that we sailed against the rebels in the North America. Oh, the little babes were stretching out their arms with saddest cries, and the bitter tears were falling from their pretty simple eyes, that their scarlet-coated daddies must be hurrying away for to fight against the rebels in the North America. Now with God preserve our monarch, I'll finish up my strain. Be his subjects ever loyal, and his honour all maintain. May the Lord our voyage prosper, and our arms across the sea, and put down those proud rebels in the North America. E-I-O, and away we go to Truro Agricultural Show. Good people, all who hear my voice, you now have reason to rejoice, for off to Truro you may go to see the agricultural show, but don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. A motley group you will see there, fat farmers and their wives are rare. Their bouncing daughters neat and clean, with a pork pie hat and a crinoline. So don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. From Newlyn East and Column 2, there's Humpback Jim and Cavity Joe, and a special train upon the rail to bring all the thieves from Bodmin jail. So don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. They've got a band from Plymouth down, the best that ever was in the town. All the gentry will be there, 'tis twice as pretty as Whitsun Fair. Don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. There's horses, ponies, cows and calves. Truro don't do things be halves. Devon, bulls, sheep, pigs and geese, you can see it all for a shilling apiece. But don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. There's things up there that'll make you laugh. There's a 2-legged cow and a 9-legged calf, a billy goat that comes from Wales with 16 eyes and 17 tails. Don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. Now all around I hear them say, we'll see this show this very day. Off we go all in a row to Truro Agricultural Show. And don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. I'm glad you're come, I see you're here. There's thousands come from everywhere, rich and poor and high and low, at Truro Agricultural Show. So don't go kissing the girls you know at Truro Agricultural Show. 'Twas in the month of May, when flowers spring, when pretty lambkins play and thrushes sing, when a young man do resort to walk about in sport, not thinking any harm at Crantock Games. Crantock and Newlyn men all in one room. The first shot made was then that caused my doom. My name is Willie Coombe, just 20 in my bloom, just 20 in my bloom when I was shot. My brother Swift did ride to Truro town, a surgeon for to find to heal my wound. The surgeon says 'tis o'er, no man then can him cure. He'll never play no more at Crantock Games. Father, thy son is dead, too true to hear. Mother, don't break your heart, oh mother dear. Sister, don't cry nor grieve, since there is no relief. No warning did he give when he shot me. My God that rules on high, behold my misery, and take my sins away before I die. I'll say until I die, I was shot willfully, and from that wound I die at Crantock Games.
They committed themselves to the will of God and resolved to proceed. In several of these storms the wind was so strong and the sea so high that they couldn't carry a knot of sail, but were forced to hull for many days. Once, as they lay at Hull in a terrible storm, a strong young man called John Howland, coming on deck, was thrown into the sea. But it pleased God that he caught hold of the topsail halyards which hung overboard and ran out at length. But he kept his hold, though he was several fathoms under water, till he was hauled up by the rope, and then with a boat hook helped into the ship and saved. And though he was somewhat ill from it, he lived many years and became a profitable member both of the Church and Commonwealth. In all the voyage, only one of the passengers died, and that was William Button, a youth servant to Samuel Fuller, when they were nearing the coast. But to be brief, after long beating at sea, on November the 11th, they fell in with a part of the land called Cape Cod, at which they were not a little joyful. After some deliberation among themselves and with the captain, they tacked about and resolved to stand for the southward, the wind and weather being fair, to find some place near Hudson's River for their habitation. But after they'd kept that course about half a day, they met with dangerous shoals and roaring breakers, and as they conceived themselves in great danger, the wind falling, they resolved to bear up again for the Cape, and thought themselves happy to get out of danger before night overtook them, as by God's providence they did. Next day they got into the bay, where they rode in safety.
Beacon Park is a peaceful place. If a dog should bark, it's a shocking disgrace. And don't you dare cough when the sun goes down. We're sensitive people on Beacon Down. The decibel level determines the rates. Their cutlery's rubber, and so is their plates. The birds never sing in the undergrowth. Every baby is born with a cork in his mouth. 'Cause Beacon Park is a peaceful place. If a dog should bark, it's a shocking disgrace. And don't you dare cough when the sun goes down. We're sensitive people on Beacon Down. At the foot of each garden there stands a screen enclosing a quaint little field latrine. It may be unhealthy, it may make you blush, but it won't wake you up like that noisy old flush. 'Cause Beacon Park is a peaceful place. If a dog should bark, it's a shocking disgrace. And don't you dare cough when the sun goes down. We're sensitive people on Beacon Down. The garbage disposal is done without noise. The bins are constructed of special alloys. The gates are spring-loaded so they never slam, and the dustmen take courses with Geraldine Lamb. Beacon Park is a peaceful place. If a dog should bark, it's a shocking disgrace. And don't you dare cough when the sun goes down. We're sensitive people on Beacon Down. This pious fixation for stifling sounds is gaining supporters in leaps and bounds. The church at St. Boniface muffles its peal, and the Albion forwards are whispering heel, 'cause Beacon Park is a peaceful place. If a dog should bark, it's a shocking disgrace. And don't you dare cough when the sun goes down. We're sensitive people on Beacon Down. A Cornish young man, he dreamed a dream of the beautifulest girl in the nation. No counsel will he take, but some journeys he'll make through England to seek this fair creature. It was 7 long years he seeked all about, till he came to the place where he met her. He opened the door and she stood on the floor. She's a silly poor labouring man's daughter. I never didn't saw you but once in my life, and that was a dream, love, lie by me. But now I've found you with tears in my eyes, so I hope, love, you'll never deny me. What is your desire, I ask you, kind sir, that you are afraid of denial? Although I am poor, no scorns I'll endure, so put me not under the trial. No scorns will I offer, nor any such thing. I'll give you a kiss, love, as a token. So you take up this ring and this guinea in gold, and between us never let it be broken. For love is, my dear, like a stone in the sling, and it's hard to believe all that's spoken. So you take up this ring and this guinea in gold, and between us never let it be broken.
July the 1st, 1620. The adventurers and planters agree that every person who goes, of 16 years and upwards, be rated at £10. £10 to be reckoned as a single share. That he who goes in person, and furnishes himself with £10, either in money or provisions, be accounted as having £20 in stock, and in the division shall receive a double share. The persons transported and the adventurers shall continue their joint stock and partnership together for 7 years, during which time all profits and benefits got by trade, traffic, trucking, working, fishing, or any other means, by any persons or person, shall remain in the common stock until the division. That at the end of the 7 years, the capital and profits, viz. The houses, lands, goods and chattels, shall be equally divided among the adventurers and planters, which done, every man shall be free of any debt to any other of them arising from this adventure. That such persons as die before the 7 years be expired, their executors to have that part or share of the division proportionately to the time of their life in the colony. That all such persons as are of this colony are to have their food, drink, clothing, and all provisions out of the common stock and goods of the said colony.
One day in October, neither drunken nor sober, or Broadbury down I was a-wending me way, when I heard of summering in some dancing and singing. I ought to remember that Jubilee Day. 'Twas at Ashwater town, the bells they did sound, they rang for a belt and a hat laced with gold. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that there never was better in Devon, I hold. 'Twas misunderstood, for the man of Broadwood gave a blow on the tenor should never have been. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that a difficult matter to beat 'em 'twould have been. 'Twas at Ashwater town, the bells they did sound, they rang for a belt and a hat laced with gold. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that there never was better in Devon, I hold. Those of Broadwood being naughty, they says to our party, we'll ring you a challenge again in a round. We'll give you the chance at St. Stephen's by Lanson, a prize to the winner, a note of £5. 'Twas at Callington town, the bells they did sound, they rang for a belt and a hat laced with gold. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that there never was better in Devon, I hold. When the match it came on at good Callington, all the bells they rang out o'er the valleys below. All the old and the young people, the hale and the feeble, they came out to hear the sweet bell music flow. 'Twas at Callington town, the bells they did sound, they rang for a belt and a hat laced with gold. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that there never was better in Devon, I hold. Those of Broadwood once more were obliged to give o'er, they were beaten completely and done in a round. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that no better than they in the west may be found. 'Twas at Ashwater town, then at Callington town, they rang for a belt and a hat laced with gold. But the men of Northloo rang so steady and true, that there never was better in Devon, I hold. Come all you dryland sailors bold, and listen unto me song. There are but 40 verses, so it won't detain you long. It's all about the history of this here British tar, who shipped as a man before the mast aboard of the Calabar. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. The Calabar was a clipper flat, copper fastened afore and aft. The rudders stuck away out behind, and the wheel was a great big shaft. With half a gale to swell each sail, she'd make 2 knots an hour. The smartest craft on the old canal, oh, only 1 horsepower. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Our captain was a strapping youth, he stood about 4'2". His eyes was black and his nose was red and his cheeks was Prussian blue. He wore a leather medal that he'd won in the crime he wore, and his wife was pilot and passengers cook aboard of the Calabar. Our vessel ploughed the waters of the Teignmouth and Newton Canal, all under close reef topsails, for the glass foretold a squall. It was in old salty pool, me lads, we was beating about the surf, all bound for the port of Newton, me lads, with a cargo of Dartmoor turf. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. We started with a favouring gale, the weather was all sublime, but just on passing the Teignmouth Bridge, where you can't pass 2 at a time, we was struck midships by another flat, which gave us a serious check, for she stove in our larboard paddle box and destroyed our hurricane deck. While hugging the shore near Netherton Point, a very dangerous spot, we ran bow onto a cob of coal that wasn't marked down on the chart. So to keep the ship from sinking and to save each precious life, we threw the cargo overboard, including the captain's wife. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Then all was confusion while the stormy winds did blow. Our boatswain slipped on an orange peel and he fell in the hold below. A piratical junk, the captain cries, and on us she does gain. And when next I'm going to Newton, me lads, per jaggers I'll go be train. We got our arms all ready for to meet the coming foe. Our grappling irons, our boarding pikes, our Armstrong guns also. Slap on all speed, the captain cries, for we are sorely pressed. But the engineer replied from the bank that the horse was a-doing his best. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Full thick and fast the heroes fell, in torrents the blood was spilt. Great numbers falling before they was touched, to make sure they wouldn't be killed. And when the enemy struck her flag, the crew being laid on their backs, well, we found that she was a sister craft, with a cargo of cobbler's wax.
In the name of God, Amen. We, whose names are underwritten, the loyal subjects of our dread sovereign Lord King James, by the grace of God, of Great Britain, France, and Ireland, King, Defender of the Faith, etc., having undertaken for the glory of God and advancement of the Christian faith, and honour of our king and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia, do by these presents, solemnly and mutually in the presence of God and of one another, covenant and combine ourselves into a civil body politic, for our better ordering and preservation, and the furtherance of the ends aforesaid, and by virtue hereof to enact, constitute, and frame such just and equal laws, ordinances, acts, constitutions, and offices from time to time as shall be thought most meet and convenient for the general use of the colony, unto which we promise all due submission and obedience. In witness whereof we have here undescribed our names at Cape Cod, 11th of November, in the year of the reign of our sovereign lord, King James, of England, France, and Ireland the 18th, and of Scotland the 54th.
In 88 ere I was born, as I can well remember. In August was a fleet prepared, the month before September. Spain with Biscay, Portugal, Toledo and Granado, all these did meet and made a fleet and called it the Armado. There was a little man of Spain that shot well in a gun, Don Pedro hight as good a knight as any of the sun. King Philip made him admiral and charged him not to stay, but to destroy both man and boy and then to run away. The King of Spain did fret amain, and to do yet more harm, he sent along to make him strong the famous Prince of Parma. When they had sailed along the seas and anchored up on Dover, our Englishmen did board them then and cast the Spaniards over. Our Queen was then at Tilbury, what could you more desire? For whose sweet sake Sir Francis Drake did set them all on fire. Away they ran by sea and land, so one man slew threescore, and had not they all run away, oh my soul, we'd a killed more. Then let them neither brag nor boast, for if they come again, let them take heed they do not speed, as they did they know when. It's a second-class city, a second-class town, from the heights of the moor to the depths of the sound. Our last gift from London was the citadel wall, 'cause we live on the highway to nowhere at all. We're stuck on to England like Lucifer's tail. We're not worth a Pullman, just ask British Rail. And the motorway blueprints are gathering dust while they bulldoze their way through the National Trust. It's a second-class city, a second-class town, from the heights of the moor to the depths of the sound. Our last gift from London was the citadel wall, 'cause we live on the highway to nowhere at all. I travel to London for the job that I do, and not just on weekdays but Saturdays too. And that's where the 10-shilling levy comes in. You're a holiday maker, they say with a grin. It's a second-class city, a second-class town, from the heights of the moor to the depths of the sound. Our last gift from London was the citadel wall, 'cause we live on the highway to nowhere at all. A ferry to Guernsey, a splendid idea, a new lease of life for our old Mill Bay pier. They started from Torquay and pinched all the trade, then closed our line down for the losses it made. It's a second-class city, a second-class town, from the heights of the moor to the depths of the sound. Our last gift from London was the citadel wall, 'cause we live on the highway to nowhere at all. professional firms our ambitions confound. Office by office, they're all Bristol bound, and even the Navy has slackened its ties. They've pulled down the C&C's flag at Mount Wise. It's a second-class city, a second-class town, from the heights of the moor to the depths of the Sound. Our last gift from London was the Citadel wall, 'cause we live on the highway to nowhere at all. Come all you Plymouthians and settlers too, Cinderella one day must recover her shoe. With everyone coming for Mayflower year, it may remind Whitehall that Plymouth's still here. It's a second-class city, a second-class town, from the heights of the moor to the depths of the Sound. Our last gift from London was the Citadel wall, 'cause we live on the highway to nowhere at all.
The appraisement or valuation of the ship the Mayflower of London, and her tackles and furniture, taken and made by authority of His Majesty's High Court of Admiralty the 26th day of May, 1624, at the instance of Robert Child, John Moore, and Jones, the relict of Christopher Jones deceased, owners of 3/4 part of the said ship, by us, William Crayford and Francis Burkes of Redriff, mariners, Robert Clay and Christopher Mallim of the same shipwrights, as followeth. Imprimis, we, the said appraisers, having viewed and seen the hull, mast, yards, boats, windlass, and capstan aft, and belonging to the said ship, do estimate the same at £50. Item, 5 anchors, weighing about 25 hundredweight, we value at £25. Item, 1 suit of sails, more than half worn, we estimate at £15. Item, 3 cables, 2 hawsers, the shrouds and stays, with all the other rigging, more than half worn, at £35. Item, 8 muskets, 6 bandoliers, and 6 pikes, at £5. Item, the pitch pot and kettle, £2.10.
While the rain softly falling and the Oggie Man's no more, I can't hear him calling like I used to before. I came through the gateway and I heard the sergeant say, the big boys are coming. See, there stands across the way. Yes, the rain softly falling and the Oggie Man's no more. It was here that she told me when she bade me goodbye. There's no one will miss you one half as much as I. My love will endure, dear, like a beacon in a squall, eternal as that Oggie Man, beneath the dockyard wall. While the rain softly falling